In my second chapter of my book, Authentic Success, I talk about the busy generation, and I start with a story about Richard. Richard is a successful accountant. During one of our coaching sessions, he told me, "Every week I enter the lottery, but I'm always too busy to check to see if I've won or not." He looked up to the heavens and said wistfully, "I'm probably sitting on a fortune and I don't know it." Richard is a fully paid up member of what I call the busy generation. Aren't we all? Have you noticed there's a new greeting in our society today? It's different from the traditional ones like good morning, nice to see you, how are you? The new one is, are you keeping busy? And you have to answer yes, by the way. You can't afford to say no. People will worry about you. But don't worry, nobody wants to know what you're busy about. All you have to do is say yes. Now, being busy looks really impressive, but only from a distance. Up close, it's a different story. Now, there is such a thing as healthy busyness, of course, but what I'm talking about is permanent busyness, chronic busyness, habitual busyness, crazy busyness, insane busyness, the sort of busyness that really does damage your chances of success. The purpose of your life is not to be as busy as possible. As Henry David Thoreau says, it's not enough to be busy. So are the ants. The question is, what are we busy about? So let's do a short busyness audit together. And I'd like you to complete these following sentences with me. One way I could be less busy and more successful is... and just fill in that gap. One way I could be less busy and happier is... one way I could be less busy and more inspired is... one way I could be less busy and more present in my life is... and you can see we could just go on, couldn't we? But it's really important that we create every now and then a busyness audit so that we can somehow declutter some of the busyness from our lives. In my experience, if you're going to be really successful, you have to be willing to sacrifice busyness for success.